In the early 1930s, Gaimai had staying with her one of the young sons of her sister Banumasi, Kerawalla, whose husband was at the time in a very poorly paid job. While there, the child became critically ill with an extremely high temperature. He required constant, careful attention. During this time, Baramshaw, the husband of Gaimai, was due to leave on one of his important tours of factories in the central provinces. But he hesitated and agonised over leaving Gaimai alone with such a critically ill child. In the midst of his mental turmoil, Bayram received a telegram from Baba saying that he would unexpectedly reach Nagpur shortly and that Bayram could therefore leave on his tour of duty free of worry. Now it appears that Baba was at the time on a train journey not anywhere near Nagpur, but inexplicably he suddenly announced a change of plan and the Mandalay changed trains for Nagpur. This instant was the turning point in Bayram's mind regarding Meher Baba, and he accepted him as a perfect master. Baba arrived at Mary Lodge, that was the home in Nagpur of Bayramshaw and Gaimai, with the Mandalay, and said to Bayram that he should now depart on his tour of duty. So Bayram left, and Baba and the men settled into the house. That day, the doctor announced that the coming night would be a really critical period for the child, who must not be left alone at any time, and that ice packs and cold, cloths should be constantly applied. Gaimai settled down with the boy, and Baba and his men retired for the night. In the early hours of the morning, Gaimai became more and more conscious of the need to go to the bathroom, meaning the toilet. But she dared not. She could not leave the child, even for a moment, in case a crisis occurred. Her discomfort grew more and more acute. Suddenly, she became aware of a light coming towards her through the dark house. As it came closer, she realised it was Baba. In the light of the flashlight, he gestured her to go to the bathroom and he would sit with the child. Such is God-man's love for us, his ever watchful compassion, and a beautiful example of chivalry.
Yes.
From the stories of lovers of the God-man, Jesus, it is recorded that the Abbot John, with other brethren, was travelling in the desert, and being night, the one who was leading them lost the way. The brethren said to John, "Father, the brother has missed the way, and we may lose ourselves and die." The old man said, "If we speak thus to him, he will be ashamed and cast down. I will make a show of being worn out and unable to walk further, and so must be here till morning." And the others said, "We too will not go further, but stay with you." So they sat until morning in order not to discountenance their brother.
Would you like a little water, Bill?
Thank you. A lover of Baba, Maya Baba, named Ravi Khan, came to Baba in a curious way. He was not a handsome man, but he had fallen deeply in love with and longed to marry a beautiful girl. Her parents were quite opposed to the match, and despite all efforts, Ravi Khan was unable to persuade them otherwise. Then, knowing of Baba, he had the opportunity to come to him, and he beseeched him to somehow bring about the marriage, and that if Baba did so, he would be Baba's slave for life. Maya Baba had a hearty laugh and said, "Is there bargaining even in my love?" Ravi replied, "I don't know anything about that, but I'm at your feet, and I plead that you will have to fulfill my wish." Then do one thing, Baba instructed. For a year, stop all talk of marriage, and if the girl's father sends you a message, refuse to marry her. After 1 year, I will see to it. Ravi Khan obeyed, and the parents of the girl came to know that he was no longer interested in their daughter. The father remarked with a laugh, "Who would give his daughter to such an ugly man anyway?" Meanwhile, the father tried his utmost to arrange the daughter's marriage without success. Finally, he sent word to Ravi Khan, who smugly proclaimed that he would never marry the girl, and he was not to be approached again. The parents then began to flatter him, seeking to win him over, but Ravi Khan maintained an aloof attitude. He, of course, informed Baba of the sequence of events, and Baba now permitted him to marry the girl. So Ravi Khan told the parents, "I have no desire to marry, but since you are so insistent, I agree." Thus, in the end, he married the beautiful girl whom he loved so ardently, and from then on was always seeking to be with Baba on every possible occasion, active in Baba's cause and endeavouring to live Baba's message.
Beautiful.
Ali, the Lion of Allah's advent. Thought by many to be the right hand of Muhammad the Prophet, encountered a handsome warrior who advanced to attack him. Ali's heart was moved with pity for the misguided youth, and he cried out, "Don't you know who I am? No one can escape my sword. Stop and save yourself." But the young man continued towards him, sword in hand. With this, Ali called out, "Why do you wish to die? You will if you attack me." The youth answered, "I love a girl who vowed she would be mine if I killed you." "But what if you die?" exclaimed Ali. "What is better than dying for the one I love?" he replied. "At worst, would I not be relieved of these agonies of love?" Hearing this response, Ali dropped his sword, took off his helmet, and offered his neck to the youth. Confronted by such an action, the love in the young man's heart was transformed into love for Ali and for the one that Ali loved so much.
Beautiful.
An Arab had a very beautiful concubine, and he was captivated by her. But the man was a gambler, and he lost everything except the woman. He went to his friends begging for money to support his companion. When she found out what he was doing, she said, "Do not do that. Sell me instead. If Allah wills, he will unite us again." The Arab brought her to Omar. No, in this case it was Umar, the governor of Persia. And when Umar beheld her, he was deeply attracted and asked of her price. The Arab replied, 100,000 dirhams, but she is worth much more to the one who knows her value. So Umar bought the concubine. As the Arab was leaving with the money, the woman spoke to him accordingly. It was acted in poetic form. "Let the money you took be of good use to you. Only my memories of you are left to me. When my tears surge and I tell myself, who cares if you cry? Where should I turn but to the pain in my heart? With whom should I converse and of whom should I think?" The man, hearing this and gazing a last farewell on her, wept and replied, "If it were not for the tyranny of fate, nothing but death would have separated us. I will put my head against the head of the pain of your absence, and I will speak only with it and think of you alone. Farewell, we shall not see each other, for it is left now to the will of Umar." Umar then spoke, "If it is left to me, let it be. Take your companion and the money too." So the man left with his companion and the money in great joy. Umar reflected, "Allah knows that I could not have bought a greater reward for my 100,000 dirhams than to lawfully unite two lovers and save them from the terrible pain of separation."
Is that the end?